and she made a good point. And she was tired, and I'm tired too. She said, I'm tired of hearing what white people can do. We know what they can do, and it's not standing by and recording another black person dying. Our allies that are white, they are the Teflons, right? They have the bodies that protect them day to day. So why don't they use that body and put themselves on the front lines where our brothers and sisters are dying? And that's what we want. In this system that continues to push people that look like me or you down, they need to be there. And they need to stand up for our justice and our peace. No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! We have a couple of speakers here today that want to lead with some very important things from different perspectives. And again, I want to reiterate that as well, as we are here for our brothers and sisters in the communities of color that have experienced day-to-day microaggressions, oppression on all different platforms, whether it's going to work, walking down the street, going to school. That's all. So our first speaker up we have is Dode. He's a local organizer. He's done a lot of coalition work.
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No racist!
No peace!
Hello everyone, my name is Daoud Moomin. Thank you all so much for being out here today. Today we're tired, we're sick, we're angry, and we demand to be heard. And when we say no justice,
no peace,
no racist,
police,
every day we come out here demanding that our people are treated as human, not as animals, to stand on our streets, to be able to breathe, to not see our men and women getting kneeled on. Today I'm angry. Stop fucking quoting MLK. MLK said rioting is the voice of those unheard, and we are unheard. So to everyone watching, when we say no justice,
no peace,
no racist,
police,
we demand that we hold our institutions accountable, our white institutions, the one killing our people. On Saturday, we marched for 4 hours in peace. And the media that I'm speaking to today, y'all better fucking cover what we're doing here, peacefully. Violence is never the answer, but it's the retaliation of the people that are unheard, that face unjust every single day. We're tired, people. To be able to stand in these streets in 90-degree weather, we're tired. I'm hurt. I'm angry. I'm aching. My people every day are tired. We come out in these streets to say one message, and to say that Black lives matter. And this isn't simply a national issue. Bernardo was killed on our streets, in our streets, and no justice has been given to him. And so no justice,
no peace,
no racist,
police.
We're hurt and we're tired, and we must continue demanding that justice be served. Mayor Mendenhall, Chief Mike Brown, I'm speaking to y'all. Well, your coward didn't show up in the crowd today, but we're here. Y'all blocking off streets so people can't see our message, so that we can be heard. Do you hear my voice? I'm done fucking screaming. It's our responsibility. It's our duty to stand up, fight back. What do we do when Black lives are under attack? Stand up! Stand up!
Fight back!
Stand up!
Fight back!
Stand up!
Fight back!
Stand up!
Fight back!
And I have one question. Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
We must continue demanding justice in our neighborhoods, in our zip codes. Today we're here to stand in national solidarity with our brothers and sisters. Today we're here to stand in solidarity with George Floyd, with Breonna Taylor, Tony McDade, and the countless of other lives senselessly lost to violence. We're done speaking. It's time to take action. It's time to show up. And it's time to put our bodies on the line. Because we're hurt. And we're tired of showing up in these streets. I want to be fucking asleep right now, but guess what I'm doing here? Speaking up for what needs to be deserved. For human rights. Black lives are not expendable. We're not negotiable. We're not here to ask. We're here to tell. And every single day we're going to continue speaking louder, prouder. And every day we're going to demand that until there's no justice,
No peace!
no justice,
No peace!
no races,
No peace!
until there's no justice.
No peace!
Salt Lake City, show me what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like!
Today's June 1st, the beginning of Pride Month. And it's time that we begin advocating for Black trans lives that are lost. Because they matter. They're dying at an unseen rate. Continue showing up in the streets. You're heard. You're being productive. You're seen. You're loved. You're cared for. Your demands are heard across the world. They didn't send the police here for no reason. They're scared. Do you hear the people in power? Quiet down. They're shaking. They're nervous. And they're not ready for us to continue speaking our truth to power. Because until no justice,
No peace!
no racists,
No peace!
they're here to serve and protect us. We're not here to serve their interests or protect their racist cops. We're gonna continue showing up. We're gonna continue speaking out. And all I gotta say, Salt Lake City, to the police, I want y'all as loud as fucking possible. Until no justice,
No peace!
no racists,
No peace!
stand up and fight back.
So I know we come out here showing solidarity all across the nation, right? Well, I want to highlight some of the deadliest, and I want you to remember these names of people that were killed right here in our valley by these racist ass cops. Dylan Taylor, Bernardo Palacios Carvajal, Fordell Hill, Cody Bellegarde, Elijah James Smith. These people were killed unjustly by the police for what? Being brown, black, for trying to live. This is disgusting. This is not okay. It's hard when you're trying to walk down the street and you see a fucking cop walking by. And you don't know what's gonna happen to you. I have to sit here and worry about my little brother and my fucking dad. People like us are murdered here in our backyards. All I want to say is, when people of color are under attack, what do we do? When people of color are under attack, what do we do? Thank you. I want to hand it off to one of my fellow comrades. She's an organizer for the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Give it up for Amal.
To be black and walking around in your neighborhood and going on a jog should not be a death sentence. To be black and sitting in your own house should not be a death sentence. Yet these murderers do not seem to understand that. They view our lives as expendable. What happened to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor were not isolated events of a few bad cops, but rather an example of an entire system rooted in the criminalization and death of black people in this country. There is no such thing as a good cop, because the next good cop is the same one sending us to prison for false charges. The same good cops, quote unquote, are the same ones harassing our homeless brothers and sisters on these streets. Those same good cops are the same ones that are standing by as our brothers and sisters are being attacked on those streets. Those quote unquote good cops are the same ones in Minneapolis defending murderers, protecting his house, and making it so that we cannot protest, so that our voices cannot be heard. In the eyes of the state, the police can do no wrong. These killings are nothing short of state-sanctioned murder. Regardless of what they say, call it what it is. It is not police brutality. This is state-sanctioned murder. Which is why they're willing to deploy their military on their own people. They want to talk about violence. Is this very existence of this nation not violence? A nation built on the genocide of indigenous people. A nation that was built on the enslavement of African people. And they have the nerve, the fucking audacity to say that we are violent. We are simply asking for justice. There would have been no violence, there would have been no fucking riots had they demanded justice when we asked for it. They want to quote MLK, talk about Martin Luther King, said there was no violence, yet they forget one thing. In order for non-violence to work, your oppressor must have a conscience, and the United States of America does not have one. They turned the very same dream that Martin Luther King died fighting for into a fucking nightmare. Day in and day out, we are being brutalized and murdered. Rather than standing up with us, they'd rather attack us. Yet they forgot one thing: we have history on our side. From the people of Haiti that fought for their revolution, to the people of Cuba that fought for theirs. We will not be oppressed. We will not stand by. For so long. All across the world, America is on trial for the crimes that they have committed against us. This is nothing short of a genocide. We ask the people of the global community to stand in solidarity with us, like we are doing with our brothers and sisters out in Minneapolis fighting for their lives. This... Sorry.
You're good. Okay.
All across the world, people will not only witness the violence that America is willing to enact on their own citizens, but can see a falling empire. As people all across this country rise up in solidarity to fight for a future free from the oppression of ruling class, free from the deaths of our own brothers and sisters. In these uprisings, we were able to strike a fear into the heart of the ruling class, because despite what they like to believe, they know their power and their wealth will soon come to an end. Because so long as the people are united, we cannot and will not be defeated. Will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. Will never be defeated. Which is why, my dear brothers and sisters and all the people here tonight, we must continue to struggle and we must continue to fight for our liberation. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. This is not the first, and this is sure as hell will not be the last. Until our demands are heard, until every single murderous cop is put and held accountable, we will continue to be on these streets. For so long as there is no justice, there is no
peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist
Police.
Thank you, y'all.
We know how our brothers and sisters and our low-income communities are dying. We know how that's happening. We know how there's racism. but I just want to tell you why. We're here to organize, but why are we fighting? Who are we fighting against? The capitalist system that we live in does not only produce physical material commodities, but it also produces racial capital that defines the value of your skin based off of the race in which you are born. We are the outcome of this production. The deliberate devaluation of Black lives, not just my life, but every person of color's life. And this is under the white supremacist capitalist system. We, the people, are the revolutionaries needed to overthrow this system. These protests alone, they're just one part in the chain of motion that brings real changes. But don't forget the everyday points. Don't forget, it's not just these protests that we gather to, but it's things that we do every single day to continue to organize in order to better the lives of those people, including ourselves. Because capitalism does not protect people like us. Why are we working 12 hours a day making $8.50? Why are undocumented folks being forced to work more and enslave themselves?
That's right.
There's one more point I want to say before I hand it off. Reallocating funds for the police will not change what is happening. Not implementing more systems for the police to figure out what to do. Give them more body cams. Give them more protective equipment. Maybe send them out to neighborhoods. That's not going to protect anyone. We want to defund the police. And we want those funds redirected to poor communities and communities of color. We want them put into education, affordable housing, equitable food resources. This is not what we want. This system will never help people like us. So until you start organizing, your hands.
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
I want to thank all of you guys for being here right now and protesting peacefully, because this is what the media fails to show. You know, the message has always been the same with Black people. We've been fighting for police reform and fighting against white institutions that don't favor us. You know, we've done it peacefully with Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. And what did they say? They called him a disgrace. They said he didn't belong to be on the football field and disrespected him. Now when we do it this way, they say this isn't the way that we should be doing it peacefully. So the thing is, it's not the way that we protest, it's the message. They have a problem with the message. And Salt Lake City states that, Mayor Mildenhouse stated that this city has white institutions that don't favor us. Now that's what they're mad about. Now we have to speak up and create a change so that they will be held accountable for their actions. We can have a better future so that one day my kids will walk around not having to worry about protesting for their basic human rights. They should institutionalize justice, because that is what the problem that we have in this country. Now we need to take action. We've seen on social media many people posting on their Insta stories about, oh, Black Lives Matter, this, but how many of them are actually out here making a difference and supporting Black lives? The true change begins when we begin to end the silence amongst the people. Silence is what's causing these problems and causing the conversation to dilute. We need to begin the change by ending the silence, by advocating for Black lives, forgetting others, and working with our political parties to advocate and trade and create policies that will help us. That the work does not just end here, it also comes back in November when we have to go and vote for people who will represent us. No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No racist!
Police!
Thank you, thank you. We are here to create a difference. We are here to start a conversation. And if they're really about creating and bringing about a better future for us, they should be here amongst us. We are here for the future. We are here for change. And silence is what we are here to end. Thank you.
Make sure every single person driving doesn't give a damn, going back home to their comfortable lives can hear us, okay? The people united will never be defeated! 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 Thank you. Okay, I got another fun one. So I say police lies, you say shut it down. Police lies!
Shut it down!
Racism!
Shut it down!
Capitalism!
Shut it down!
The whole damn system!
Shut it down!
Let's break this system down! We don't want to see it again. We're over it, we're done!
Talk that shit!
All right, got one more. No justice, no peace. No racist police. No justice, no peace. No racist police. No justice, no peace.
Police!
No justice, no peace. No racist police.
Police!
No justice!
No peace!
No racist!
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 Police!
All right, next up, we have another community organizer from Justice for Cody. His name is Marvin. He'll be speaking up next.
Thank you for being here today. First thing I'll mention is on Saturday, can you hear me? Sorry. I want to thank everybody for being here today. I want to start off by talking about something that happened on Saturday at the protest just east of here. A local reporter recognized me and asked me to do an interview, and one of the questions that she asked was, so do people, like, how do you feel, what do you think people should feel about the violence that's happening here today? Should organizers feel responsible for it? Should people here feel responsible for it? Should people feel scared of the violence that's happening here today? My answer was simple. I said, yeah, people should feel scared. People are scared of the violence here. People are here because of the violence they see from the police department, from law enforcement. So because of that, I thank you for your bravery for being here today after witnessing the things we've been witnessing for years and witnessing what we witnessed Saturday, and still showing up today to stand in solidarity and unity with your fellow community members to speak out against police brutality. I guess I'll start off also by talking about what some of the things that may have led to some of the things that went down yesterday or Saturday. So some of the things that led to examples of what led to Saturday's events are things like, I'll talk on a local level here with local law enforcement. All winter long and for years prior, we witnessed local law enforcement, particularly SLCPD, and Utah Highway Patrol, harassing, brutalizing, criminalizing, and stealing unsheltered residents' winter survival gear. We saw that under Biskupski's administration, and we saw that the first day of Mendenhall's administration, right here, during Take Shelter occupation on this site. We saw that. And other things that led to this is, you know, when we go and ask questions about our concerns to local officials and people responsible for addressing these concerns to their constituents, we get told to, you know, take the routes, talk to the mayor, talk to the city council, talk to these officials who have stake in these councils that oversee and, you know, have answers to these questions. So we do that. We go to the council. What do? They walk out of the chambers and leave us with no answers. They turn our backs on us. I personally asked Biskupski for a meeting to ask questions about why my brother Cody Belgard was shot in the back by 5 Salt Lake City police officers as he was surrendering. She refused to meet with me for months. Finally, under the pretense of her lawyer, Mike Brown, being there during that meeting. So that's putting me in the same room with the perpetrator to ask these questions. So then, shelter situations, we go to Cox, we go to the state capitol. He puts a call out for $10 brown bag specials to hand out to unsheltered residents. We deliver a bunch of them up there for him, and he closes the door and calls 12 UHP officers and bomb-sniffing dogs on us. So all we get is closed doors, locked doors. And then, so what do they do next? They create legislation like SB 173, sponsored by Ipsen, where you can serve up to 1 year in jail for disrupting a public meeting. That legislation passed. They create legislation like HB 415 after groups like Utah Against Police Brutality worked years creating legislation for a civilian police oversight review board. They created legislation to ban that. They created legislation to ban that. And then when we see no police accountability when they do wrong, and then we have situations like a 2018 Post audit by the federal government. Post is police officers standards and training. They audited Utah certification department that certifies the police here in the state and could pull their certifications for misconduct and other things. They audited them compared to the other states in the western half of the country, and they failed. They got the lowest reviews. They Post wasn't reporting things they were obligated to report to the federal government. Let me give you a couple of statistics that are pretty eye-opening. I just want to get this right, so I'm going to pull this up. So one thing to keep in mind is studies have shown that police officers' households are 4 times more likely to experience domestic violence than the average citizen. So some of the statistics that came out of the Post review by the federal government in comparison to the western states, basically, so for domestic violence, all other states gave 89%, they revoked these police officers' certifications. They can never be cops again. 89% of all these other states revoked police officers for domestic violence. Here in the state of Utah, how many? 0. 0 for domestic violence.
Fuck that!
For DUI and drugs. Other states at 29% revoked. Here in the state of Utah, 0. Falsification of government records. What I experienced doing research on my brother's murder is what happened for stuff like that. Other states, 95% revocation of police certifications. They can never be cops again. Here in the state of Utah, 0. Sex on duty, believe it or not, has happened here. There's been 12 officers here locally that have basically raped sex industry workers here, giving them ultimatums for sex or jail time. So, sex on the job here locally. Other states, 33% revoked. Here in the state of Utah, 0. Controlled substance abuse, 100% get their licenses revoked. Here in the state of Utah, 18%. Those are the statistics we're looking at here locally. And other things that we have to consider is 2014, when they talk about trusting law enforcement, things like that, 2014, right here in West Valley City, stemming from the Danielle Willard's murder by West Valley PD, who was found to be involved with a local Aryan group in solicitations of drugs, guns, and money. During the investigation of Danielle Willard's death, they found this info out. Due to the corruption that was within West Valley PD in 2014, they had to disband the gang task and the narcotics unit. Sim Gill, who's currently still the district attorney here, had to dismiss 130 plus cases that were involved with those cases. So when it comes to time when somebody you care about, somebody you love, somebody you know is affected by police brutality, and they come to you like they come to me and tell me to trust them, they're going to investigate this. People are going to be held accountable. Don't trust them. I tell them, fuck the police. Fuck the police. At Saturday's protest, as many of you probably noticed, there was a handful of officers that were designated to carry firearms and shoot into the crowd. Assault rifles, firearms, things they call non-lethal, but they can be lethal the way they were utilizing them that day. They shot so many people within feet. Exactly. One of the officers they chose to give one of those firearms to that day and let him stand behind another man with a shield was Officer Sorensen of the SLPD. Officer Sorensen was one of the men that shot my brother in his back as he was surrendering to them. What type of responsibility is that on behalf of Chief Mike Brown, knowing the history of this man's past for taking another person's life, and expecting him to be in charge of a firearm to de-escalate a situation? That's very irresponsible in my eyes. So when you start to consider all this stuff, you need to start to ask questions like, why was a young man killed? Why was Dylan Taylor killed for wearing headphones? Why was Mr. Breinholt in handcuffs in West Valley PD police station, arrested for a DUI, shot point blank range in his head in one of the most supposed secure buildings in the city, a police department? Why was Harold Robertson fired on 300 times, enough for people to reload their AR-15s by 15 officers, when 7 unified officers didn't have their body cameras on, when we know he was suffering also from a mental health crisis?
That's murder! Fuck the police!
That was my brother Cody, shot in the back while surrendering to police after being pursued under a false pretense of being somebody else. They were looking for somebody else when they chased him down.
Fuck the police! Disgusting fucking pig!
So what I'll say in closing is something UAPB said in their response to Mendenhall's address. was, yeah, we agree. This is not justice. This is a demand. So I ask you all to please continue to demand that we stop funding these racist and violent police. We start using that money for education within our schools, for harm reduction services for people that struggle with substance misuse, for education for those same people, for services for people dealing with the unsheltered crisis here locally. We ask you to demand that they remove police from our children's schools. Replace them with guidance counselors. We ask you to demand for police accountability, police oversight, and community control now. I just want to do a couple chants in closing for some of the local victims as well as others of police brutality. Justice for Dylan Taylor! Justice for Danielle Willard!
Justice for Danielle Willard!
Justice for Bobby Duckworth!
Justice for Bobby Duckworth!
Justice for Michael Brightholt!
Justice for Michael Brightholt!
Justice for Harold Robinson!
Justice for Harold Robinson!
Justice for Richie Santiago!
Justice for Richie Santiago!
Justice for Bernardo Placius!
Justice for Bernardo Placius!
Justice for Cody Belgard!
Justice for Cody Belgard!
And justice for George Floyd!
Justice for George Floyd!
I thank you for your time. Thank you for your bravery.
Before I hand it off to my comrade Diego,
I just want to remind you all of everyday microaggressions that we face. Things that we see on the internet. You've probably seen a lot of videos surfacing of women of color crying because they can't go for a jog. Not because some black man is chasing her down the street, because she's going into a hotel room asking for help, and an old white woman is saying, "Why is that monkey out the door? Is that your baby daddy?" That's fucking disgusting. I can't walk down the street without getting looks if I'm hanging out with another person of color. Why? Why is that apparent? Why does that matter?
It fucking doesn't!
Why does it matter that my brother goes into a goddamn store and gets followed because he looks like someone sketchy? He looks high profile. Because genetics said he was 6'4" and 300 pounds? Sorry, he's black. I'm not fucking sorry. I want to remind everyone, racism is embedded in our everyday lives. It is inherent. The media portrays us like we're fucking animals. We are not animals. We are human beings. I just want to thank everyone for coming out. This isn't done. This is not done. I know someone got messages about an 8 p.m. curfew. It's not done. Police lines, shut it down. Racism. Shut it down. Capitalism. Shut it down. The whole damn system. Shut it down. All right, I'm going to have my comrade Diego talk for a minute.
For more than 400 years, our black brothers and sisters have been the victim of genocide. When they were stolen from their home in Africa, they suffered the most brutal atrocities, and they were never paid paid reparations for building this land for free for 200 plus years. When the 13th Amendment ended slavery, it didn't actually end it. Slavery is still legal in the prison system. The three strikes rule, social profiling. Jim Crow isn't dead, he's still alive and breathing. And us Latin American people, we need to stand with our brothers and sisters. We must not forget that a big part of our community is also African. In my home of Brazil, we have the same history of slavery. They, right now, have their own movement going on. We are with solidarity with George Floyd. Just how George Floyd was lynched by the cops. João, that was his name, a 14-year-old in Rio de Janeiro, was shot 30 times by the fucking military police. He was 14 years old. Justice for João! Justice for George Floyd! Justice for Breonna Taylor! Justice for Bernardo Palacios! Justice for Cody Bellegarde! Justice for our brothers and sisters who still have to suffer genocide 400 years later. Us Latin Americans have to understand that our patria, our home, was built on indigenous and black blood. Communities of Mexico, of Ciudad de Mexico, Buenos Aires, Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Santiago de Chile, all built under indigenous and African slave blood. Just like how the United States of America has to pay back, so does Latin America. I remember someone telling us, oh, but the police officer that killed George Floyd got arrested. Is that much of a victory? Fuck no. That's not even the fucking bare minimum. You're setting the bar lower than my ass. Justice isn't even going to begin when that motherfucker gets sentenced with first-degree murder. But no, he gets manslaughter. That only carries a maximum of 25 years. He's not going to get shit. They're only arresting him to protect him. Justice will not even begin when we dismantle this system. Justice will only begin. Our victory as a united people, especially as oppressed people, when we band together, especially as Latin Americans, with our black brothers and sisters. Justice will only begin when we group and organize and prepare ourselves to fight the system that has been killing us, the system that has been killing our black brothers and sisters for 400 years, the system that has been deporting and putting us in cages. Just like how our black brothers and sisters are not thugs, they're human beings, so are we, and they sided with us. We now need to pay them the favor back. Justice and victory will only come when we dismantle this entire goddamn system. And it does not begin. It will barely begin when we dismantle the police system. It will barely begin when we dismantle the incarceration system. It will barely begin when we abolish the entire system, especially of profit, of making us work like slaves, especially our black brothers and sisters. The system we will only see justice when this system gets rid of the soldiers who have to fight illegal wars and kill our black and brown brothers and sisters abroad. And those who are killed and bombed abroad by soldiers and by the genocidal military machine of the United States, when they come here, they end up getting racially profiled. They end up getting put into borders. This is not fighting for democracy. This is not fighting for freedom. This is fighting for oil and fighting for genocide.
Yeah!
Justice will only come when this entire goddamn system gets burned down, and our new destiny will only come then. Justice for George Floyd.
Justice for George Floyd.
Justice for Breonna Taylor.
Justice for Breonna Taylor.
Justice for Jerome.
Justice for Jerome.
Justice for Cody Belliard.
Justice for Cody Belliard.
Justice for all our brothers and sisters.
Justice for all our brothers and sisters.
Before I close out here, I just want to... We're going to go through the library, and you're going to follow me and another comrade of mine in the front. We'll have security in the back. We'll be leading chants. But we're here in solidarity, and we want to unify our people, and we're going to make sure that they keep hearing, no justice, no peace. No peace. So I just want to reiterate that every single force that drives the wheels of oppression are produced out of a system that values property, forced external labor, and profit over the livelihood of our brothers and sisters of the working class.